Hey, y'all. I mean, how could we not start our time together with a little thriller? I mean, this is Halloween week. Welcome. I just thought that would be a little bit of fun. It's so good to see you. I'm Jennifer Ogilvy. I get to be your on screen facilitator this evening as we set up for November, the 11th month of 2025. It's hard to believe that we're at the end of the year now. So anyway, thank you for playing along with me. I love love this graphic. I don't know if you're having a rough Friday today because you realize it's only Wednesday. But oh, thank you, Christy. My husband had a colonoscopy this morning, so it's been a long night and early morning, and I'm like, it's only Wednesday. So yeah, Friday in our hearts, y'all. We live with Friday in our hearts. So yeah, make sure your Zoom is set to everyone, the chat, because that's how we communicate with one another. You're welcome to turn the volume down if you. I'm full disclosure. It's all Halloween music. We just had to. I'm a former educator, and so I can't like not be thematic this time of the year. Um, on the call with me is my co-facilitator, Katie Gideon. She's giving you a wave. Show me your pumpkin. Can y'all see her little pumpkin there glowing in the darkness? And they've already done their daylight savings time. So while it's late in Scotland, it's not as late. So I was like, oh girl, when she logged on, we got to get her to bed. So yeah, so we're real excited about November. And I put this up. We had some great combinations of names. So if you didn't grab that, that's just kind of a fun way to embrace our beginning together. I am Professor Ophelia Tamale Casserole. But I thought that would be kind of a fun way to start our evening. Or you could maybe see what you need to manifest from the little graphic over there on the right. Maybe you need to be a calm candy corn or a grateful ghost or a skillful spider. So I thought that would be a stinky Alexander sausage. That's correct. It's fun. It's fun to play around with our names. So, you can write that anywhere in your journal to just remind yourself you brought yourself a little joy and a little kindness. Um, Maybe you see three words. I laugh because the first word I saw said plug, but it's unplugged. So anyway, I think I need to unplug and then I would have noticed the word, but maybe you see three that speak to you, that you can embrace. I always love these little kind of word searches for our affirmation or our word. Maybe that will help you. Um, and then, this little graphic, Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. I hope you're having a great fall also. But we're like in the middle of fall now, right? Like here we are. November brings us a lot of really neat things. And we have this new theme of kindness, and World Kindness Day is on November 13th. So in your journal right now, put a little heart around that or make a little note. And we're going to be doing a lot of things about self-kindness, but also kindness to the world, which I think we need that so much right now. Um, I know some things are tough for some folks. I know we have a lot of folks who are affiliated with the government and they're not seeing paychecks. So we are, just trying to send some good vibes, some kindness out into the world. But this month, you can see everything for, it's Veterans Day. We'll, give a shout out to my co-facilitator who served our country. So proud of knowing Katie Gideon. National Pickle Day, of course, World Kindness Day, and yeah, and the SNAP benefits too. So we want to just be kind and maybe keep our ears to the ground to see where we can be used with our bounty and gratitude. So lots of fun things coming in November. There's our community guidelines, folks. Y'all have seen this before if you've been here. If you've never been to a social before and you're sitting, you maybe just got your first journal and you're like, okay, let me go see what this is all about. Please let us know in the chat. You are noticing folks saying, hey, welcome. I see you. How you doing? When you come to these events enough, you will definitely get to know folks. This is our beautiful virtual community. So if you are new, just put a me, so that we can give you that beautiful Sonder embrace and welcome. We take care of each other. We support one another through these socials, and we want to remind you to take care of yourself and others. And you can come as you are. Oh, Zoom user is a me. Y'all share your names if you're set as Zoom user. Welcome, welcome. We want to be sure that we know your first name too. So we're really glad that you're here, and then make sure that chat does say to everyone so we can see it. So no, no, no worries, Carrie, no, Kara, no worries. We're glad you're here. Rebecca's new, Kara's new. What's really great about these times is you're carving out this appointment. You know, you can keep this appointment with yourself and then really use your journal. I think one of the things folks will say is, I've got this journal and I just taper off. And this is where you can get that accountability and that inspiration. So we're going to show you how to use your journal just as it's printed, as well as ways to repurpose it to maybe fit better in your life, your world. And then I would also encourage you to check out a weekly setup. And we offer 3 of those most weekends. And that will help you set up those week to week to week pages. And again, a lot of inspiration from our Sonder family. You're going to see lots of examples that folks have shared. So, and yeah, we're jumping into this new theme of kindness. And one of the best ways we can be kind to ourselves is to lean into the month of November. And I pull this out every November. I think it's a month to say no to the things that don't serve you. We're really good at saying yes and forgetting about our boundaries. So every November, I try to frame it out like, what can I say no to? What can I get rid of? What can I do so that I am serving myself, my family, my community better by not taking too much on? I always love yes, no is a complete sentence. You are so right, Adrian. Just like this little Twitter up here. Thanks for thinking of me, but right now I'm going to decline. My plate is as full as I like. No apologies, no long explanations, no feelings of guilt. And it's so hard to get, like, I have struggled with like the explanation part my whole life. Like I needed my excuse, and no really is a complete sentence. And so that's been easier for me as I've gotten older. But this quote is so half of the troubles of this life can be traced to saying yes too quickly and not saying no soon enough. So I want you to maybe think about what November looks like for you. What needs to go? What needs to be kicked to the curb as you finish this year strong? And so we're going to take good care of ourselves and really embrace this idea of kindness. And through your self care journey with Silk and Sonder, that hopefully it's opened up your eyes to see that truly it's like the airplane thing, put your oxygen mask on first and then take care of everybody else. When you've taken care of yourself, your mental health, your emotional health, your physical health, that makes you better for everybody else. So that is where kindness is. I'm really kind of embracing that idea of kindness with self-care. And when we are kind to ourselves, then we can be kind to those around us. I know when I'm grumpy, my husband gets the brunt of it, right? Because I'm not taking care of anyway. So yeah. So I'll be working on this this month. Alrighty, so we always invite you to start with the letter from our founder, Meha, and you'll find that printed in the front of the journal. The print is a little small for for my eyes. I always have to like do this on the screen. I look at it on my tablet. But I did pull out some things that jumped out for me. These letters sort of set up our journey. Like, here's why kindness, here's why resilience. And a couple of things that just spoke to me was, the most impactful acts are often the ones that go unnoticed by others, right? We don't do it to get attention. We just do it because it's the right thing to do, the unnoticed things. Then there's this idea of extending kindness inward, taking care of self. And then, what does it look like to offer a bit more patience, compassion, or generosity to others and to yourself? So, that's sort of, start setting the idea up for this new theme. So, our journey tonight is going to involve working on our acrostic poem, a kind of an opening activity to get our kindness juices flowing. I've also got some alternate activities if you've already done your acrostic or you're not feeling poetry tonight. We've got some alternatives. We'll take a moment to reflect on October. We're going to set those November intentions and then we'll work on our two trackers. And then we will go to bed. So I'm going to invite you to turn to page 19 in your journal. We're so lucky this month we have an acrostic poem page dedicated. It shows up about every third or fourth month in there. Otherwise, we have to use one of our sacred notes pages. And we're going to just start thinking about like, oh, India, wake up. Um, we're gonna free associate 8 words or phrases for kindness. So just kind of start thinking about kindness, and then we're gonna create an acrostic poem using kindness, drawing upon your brainstorm list. But you can also have other ways of approaching this. Maybe you just sit and start taking a letter, a letter per K, I, N, to N, and you just do it that way. A lot of you who are on the personal coaching will go ask Jenny, like, given what you know about me, help me write a personal acrostic poem with the theme of kindness. Alrighty, so not a right or wrong way to do this, right? But we do know that poetry is, again, one of those creative activities that taps into parts of our brains that may not get used as much. So it is, I'm going to encourage you to give it a whirl. We've got some examples here for you to look at for some inspiration. This is the first setup, so probably what you guys do if you post it in Sonder Club, you'll see them in the other monthly setups. Well, we don't have many examples as of yet. There's a lot of synonyms for kindness. If you feel like a different word is calling to you, feel free to do that. I see that. Let's see, who's it? Okay, Heather's already got her poem written, and she did go to her lifestyle coach for doing that. So you can see that in the chat. If an acrostic poem is not for you, write a haiku. That's a fun way to frame it out. You can save your acrostic poem for later or just put something else on that page that nobody grades these. You can write a letter saying goodbye to October and hello to November. The example in the right is my letter from actually a year ago. I haven't written my note yet, but I like to write, personification, write a note to those months. You could maybe spend time on page 3 and fill out your kindness definition. And the way I do this is I just word cloud it. I just start popping in those synonyms or like kindness. I'll probably put some proper nouns in there for the people who are in my life that I think of kindness. So yeah, there's, multiple ways to start embracing our theme. I'm going to put on some music while you work on this. Share, your haikus or whatever, your acrostics, you can do all of these and share that in the chat as you're comfortable. And then we'll get on with our setup. righty. Good work thinking about this and sort of embracing our theme with the very first activity of a new month. Please feel free to post in Sonder Club because you find some words and sometimes that hits just right for other folks who may be stuck. And some nights are not poetry nights. So if you need a different time to work on this, feel free to do that as well. We always say take what you need. So now it's time to dig into the journal, and we're going to begin by looking back over our month of October. And y'all know that I like to approach page 8 in two steps. I like to do like the reflections and then come back and do the start, stop, and continue box. So let's start by looking at our wins and the challenges that October brought us, and then some of those favorite moments. You can go look at your rosebud thorn reflections from each previous week. Pick up your phone, look and see what occupied space. What did you take screenshots of or photos of? What did your calendar look like? Did you have some big, meetings, or, was it a tough month because it was filled with doctor's appointments? Or, your calendar will tell you that. I always say check your credit card statement. That was a challenge for us. We had some expensive home repairs that, they come up every now and then. And so that was definitely a challenge. So there's lots of ways to review your month, but we're going to take the wins and we're going to take the challenges and find the lessons in both and the gratitude. We always say we know that life is filled with the ups and the downs. And so you survived. I was gonna say you survived October. You've almost survived October. So we celebrate that in itself, right? So let's take a few moments to begin working on our reflections, and then we'll come back and finish up with our stop, start, and continue boxes. Don't you love how that one ends? That dramatic music. Alrighty, so you may still be working on this. This is a little bit of a longer page, but while you're working on it, I want to jump down to the bottom and just let's take a moment in this reflection portion of our time together and let's look at that start, stop, and continue space. And I always say I used to fill this out and not give it much credit, and now I look at it as almost the compass to point me in the direction I want to go in this upcoming month when I stop for a moment and think about, okay, what are the things that need to start happening in my life or maybe restart things that used to happen and are not. I was actually working on the weekly setup because I'm doing Saturday mornings weekly setup, and I was looking at my thorn for the week, and I realized I've gotten out of sync with the nighttime routine again. I always do that, and so that's going to be like my restart to get that synced back up, and move that into my weekly and have some accountability for that. So think about the things you want to start doing that will give you better results, that will help you be kind to yourself. And then additionally, as we're thinking of the month of November, what needs to stop? What needs to go away? So kind of think about, are you self-sabotaging? Are you tired and then that's affecting how you work with or you live with people in your life? You're not taking the best care of yourself. So what do we need to say no to? What do we need to stop doing? And then, of course, we're doing lots of things right. I mean, you're here tonight, right? So, what do you want to continue? What are the good things in your life that you want to continue to bring forward into the months? Now, some folks will frame this out as like, a relationship. Maybe this whole space is about a relationship. And you look at that and examine that particular relationship and think, what do I want to start, stop, and continue? You could also do a theme like wellness or rest, nutrition, decluttering, finances, education, or it could just be just different areas in your life, your core value, what brings you joy, what brings you happiness. So you can see here's a great example of a start, stop, and continue. I've got a couple of slides to show you with things that our Sonder family um, have shared. I always love the idea. You can see I've mentioned the restart, like you see in this upper left box there. It's a restart. So I'm going to really, it's like getting back into some things that served me well. The one on the bottom asking the question, what is it? What is the thing I'm starting and why? What is my why behind that? And then how am I going to do it? Like a little action item. What a great way to point, to use this as you embrace this new month. This can help this framing out like this can help you set your intentions that we're going to work on next. Let's see here. Then we've got another box where we're asking the what, why, and how, what and why. So just kind of that little bit of introspection that will make this a little more actionable can help with that. So let me put on some music. You can finish up your reflections and then work on your start, stop, and continue and share in the chat. And if you are finding yourself needing, like the words aren't coming, drop in the chat kind of what you're thinking and maybe if you need help framing it out because y'all are amazing and you can help one another with that. Right. Good working on this. And I want to remind you to be non-judgmental as you look at the things that maybe you want to stop. Remember some of the things that we do that maybe we want to stop, self-sabotaging. We looked at masks this past week, and we throw up these masks and we don't show our authentic selves, but a lot of times that's because we are protecting ourselves, and it's our brain's way of saying, let's put some distance up. So be gentle with yourself as you look at that stop. When you put it on paper, it can become very neutral, and you can create plans so that the thing you want to stop, you're able to do. But just know, it's okay. It's okay that there's stuff that you're like, I need to stop. Okay. Yeah. That, you're self-sabotaging, but some of that is because you are protecting yourself from something, right? We're just trying to figure ourselves out. So now, with this information, let's go look at our intentions and setting up what we want for this new month. Your intentions can be found on page 9. There are 6 categories of intentions, and you are invited to use those 6, but also to change up anything that doesn't speak to you. You're also invited to do 4, do your top 4, do your top 3. There's nobody's making you do all 6, and if it feels like, "Gosh, I'm really working on relationships right now," maybe that's where the majority of your energy needs to go. Um, so we've got lots of neat things about this month. Maybe some of those things will come into play as you're looking at these different intention areas in your life. Pardon me. Some tips and tricks for this. You can see we've got, a post-it note intention page. Maybe you need to play around with your intentions and try them on for a few days before you commit. Post-it notes are great for that. Of course, we could use our theme, what does kindness look like in each one of the areas in our life as we entertain what is good for our spiritual health and our financial health, our money management, our relationships. Focusing on one area, like everything's going to be about self-love this month, or the self-talk I do. If you've been self-sabotaging, then you've been running scripts in your head. So what does self-talk look like if you are doing it through a lens of kindness? People use songs and lyrics, maybe embrace how you want to feel, colors, stickers. And then we have this idea of duality. So a thing to let go of and a thing to embrace. Maybe draw inspiration from your start and your stop box that you just completed. Now, here's some great examples. Thank you all for sharing. If you see yours here, let us know. We want to give you thanks for sharing how you set yourself up. So you can see, like, we've got some categories that have been, thank you, Chris. We've got some categories on every one of these. All 3 of these have been changed. So spiritual health, and the one on the left is self-care. So really embracing that. You can see that and Chris changed her money management and professional goals to home and seasonal. I love the idea of seasonal because right now, end of year, it's all the season, right? And so there's a lot with that. Look at the one on the right. They wanted home management there, and so they changed their key relationships to that. And then right under it, next to the money management, is a less and more place to kind of, what do I need to let go of? Anger and apathy and pain. Um, and I'm not sure what that word is. More flannels, I don't know. Hot days. And they want to do more wellness, compassion, sunlight, and baking. So, doing that little mini space of that duality, less of something, more of something. We've also got some more duality. The one up here is I want more of something and less, and you can see the different things that they've put. So like under physical health, more movement, cleaner eating, simple app plan, and then less iPad games and overthinking. So really trying to embrace physical health through those things. We've got the arrows that are up and down over there on the right. So another way of more or less, but also it looks like maybe there's a little bit of quotes going on with that one. Embrace release is the bottom one. We've got, several, a yes and a no, or a start and a stop. And then let's see some more examples. One word, and then there's one that's quotes, and you can see they've changed their headings for each one of the areas. They've changed a couple of those. I wanted to point out Sarah, she posted this in Sonder Club. And she says, "Hey, I'm back with Silk and Sonder after a year off. I found a cool idea for the month's intentions that I wanted to share." And I thought this was really, really neat. Instead of setting intentions, goals for the month. She's filling in each square in past tense as if you were filling it in at the end of the month with the best case scenario for that category. And the example that she gave, for example, physical health in November, she's writing, in November, I lost 2 pounds and worked out 2 times a week the whole month. I stuck to my water and protein goals and feel great. So it's almost like a future you. What would future you say when you've taken care of those intentions the way you wanted to? So the idea stems from manifesting what you want by acting as if you have it. And I thought that was kind of a fresh take on some of these intention spaces, and maybe that would be inspirational to you. I really like it. Yeah, and doing those, the affirmations that you see there at the bottom left. I will, I commit, I can, I intend to, I am, and framing those out are a great way of doing that. You can see the bottom one there in the middle has a bunch of like affirmation statements. The example over on the right shows, that bottom left box on the page has been left blank. Perhaps this is a check-in space. You could use it for a quote. You could put a little happy sticker there. But they're going to just embrace these 5 areas and not worry about money management. They need to put their energy into those other 5 things. Maybe everything's a-okay in money management land for them. And so that's again another great suggestion to just tape off these spots. Use those spots for a check-in. Maybe mid-month, go write it in one of your the middle of the month. Make an appointment with yourself in your weekly spread. Go check intention page and then do a check-in and see any notes you need to write. You could use those spaces for. So let me put on some music while you start digging into your intentions page. And again, if you're kind of stuck in an area and you're not really sure how to put something into words, but you know what you're feeling that you want, drop it in the chat and let someone, let our Sonder family help you out. Because, sometimes when your brain won't work, other people's brains are. So drop that in the chat. Alrighty, so we've maybe played around a little bit with our intentions, and we're starting to. Our month is shaping up now. We're getting our roadmap for November set up. So now let's take a look at our two trackers that are in this journal. And my favorite is the habit tracker. I love that habit tracker wheel, but we're going to start with the mood tracker, which you will find on page 10. And if you're brand new, we've got a feelings wheel where you can pull some moods to track, and then we also will have some ideas for repurposing that tracker if you don't use a mood tracker. So this month is the hexagon tracker. We like to include both examples because if you are new, we don't want you to get thrown off if you see this circle, like where did this circle come from? So they're going to change up on depending on the number of days of the month. So yeah, so we've got the hexagon this month. We have 30 days and it's a hexagon. I feel like I need to go draw though that one little one just to complete the thing there. I've got a slide of the feelings wheel, so you can grab a screenshot of that or take a picture. And remember, this is being recorded as are 100,000 other, really, it's like 1,000 videos of other socials, and you can always access that because we do include the feelings wheel in all of those. So the reason we have a mood tracker is it can help you start noticing trends. And when you see trends in your moods, then you can take a look at your life holistically and go, oh, this happens here and there. Yes, Katie dropped the link. There's a Silk and Sonder blog, and you can always access the mood tracker in that blog. So that's a good one to bookmark. Um, we suggest you take a if you're it's a good thing to maybe look at a couple of negative feelings and a couple of positive feelings and maybe something kind of neutral to especially to start with. If you're feeling a lot of maybe negativity, maybe you really hone in on those negative feelings and choose 6 types of negative feelings. We'll look at that mood tracker. I'll show you what I'm talking about and really hone in on why and when and how is this happening. Tracking that can let you see that. You can do several moods in one day, or you can kind of do a noon check-in. How am I feeling today? And just check in once a day. That's really up to you. Or you could check in several times a day and monitor all the feelings. You could focus on kindness this month, and you can fill in with stickers or markers or blotters or whatever. So there's this feelings wheel. It is great to have all these words, and the words that are around the outside of the wheel are also on the inside of the wheel. Those are the 6 basic feelings, but then as you see the pie shapes go out, they get a little more detailed. So under the word of fear, the further out you go, you can see a lot of different words that would fall in that fear category. Same thing for love. So, and anger, if you're feeling angry a lot, maybe you need to go look at those words that are around the outside of the anger pie piece and really try to, what exactly am I feeling when I feel anger? Is it jealousy or am I getting resentful? And then start asking some whys behind that, which will be the catalyst for change, right? I'll go back to this slide so you can take another picture. So here's some great examples that Sonder Family has done. And one of the tips that we like to share is to highlight or draw around your weekends or your days that look different. If maybe you work a non-traditional job, you may be in the medical field and you work in a hospital, so you work maybe 3 on, 4 off kind of thing, something like that. But if any days that are different, draw circles around those or trace them. And then that way, as you are tracking your moods, you can also go, oh, I'm pretty solid on the weekends. It's when I'm at work that I'm all over the place, or vice versa, and it can give you feedback from that. So there's that. And you can see folks are using stickers, they're coloring in. their feelings. But let's look at some ways to repurpose. And I've got some fun new examples from y'all. Well, some what's old is new again. A couple of these are old, but you haven't seen them in a while. So we've got like an activity tracker, and lots of folks will use an activity tracker for their movement, but this one is actually for just like the daily things like a shower and a bath and maybe watching TV, giving themselves that little moment of just quiet sitting, taking the dog for a walk. So, what are your big activities that you want to do? This kindness tracker it's an old tracker from a long time ago, but they have put coworkers, myself, husband, daughter, family, friends, and they're just tracking when they have shown kindness to those folks. And I thought, I'm going to bring this one back for our month of kindness. Maybe that's what you need to do. I will also mention that it's nice to make a copy of this tracker. And you could track different things, right? Maybe you use one for a symptom tracker and one for a kindness tracker and one for a mood tracker. Just tuck it into your journal. There's an intentions tracker. This actually tied straight back into the 6 intentions this person set for the month. So it's a accountability check-in with those intentions on that intentions page that we just did. Here's a health tracker tracking like what you're eating, how you're moving, if you're taking care of your mental health, if you're giving yourself quiet time, if you are paying attention to your sleep. There's a spending tracker, and then a craft tracker, which is so good because I love any opportunity we can get creative is so good for our brains. There is a book tracker. That's how I use mine as a book tracker, and I just write the title in and color in. You could do a write the day, and then this makes a perfect space to do a symptom tracker because you put everything in one space and you can take it to your healthcare provider and show them. So like you can see this person's doing their fasting glucose on this tracker, and it's all going to be in one space. They can take that to their doctor or their healthcare provider and boom, everything's there. So if you have some ongoing symptoms, maybe, you're trying to track stomach issues or that kind of thing, you could give 6 different categories and track that. And then you've got everything on one page. So share in the chat how you use this tracker. If you're using it for moods, what moods are you tracking? Or what is your repurpose? And then we'll get on with the habit tracker. All right. Well, welcome, Janine. Better late than never, right? We're glad you're here. And now let's turn to our habit tracker. And this I've mentioned that I love this tracker. So these are the things we want to do most every day of the month. Our tracker that's in the weekly is set up so that we can adjust that according to the weekly habits and activities that we have. So that one can be changed up to fit the needs of the week. But this tracker is kind of those things we want to do. And you might want to consult that start, stop, and continue page again. Are there some things that you could take from that insight and inform your habit tracker? This is a great place to start new habits, to stop doing those things that you want to get rid of. The November, maybe your theme of this habit tracker is November, and it's all the things you want to get rid of. Mainly it's about getting some habits in place that do bring value to our life. And so, you can pick a theme. I'm going to remind you, maybe mark off those days on this tracker as well that are different from your regular days. So those weekends or those days off, draw around them. Or if you're traveling, or maybe you give yourself the weekend off. It's really, really up to you. So yeah, let's take a look at some. You guys have seen these. We include these two every month. There's the idea of um, cording off those weekends. Some folks get very creative. They draw mandalas. I just do a black check, or I write in the little box. I'm not that creative. I have to have a mandala provided for me, in other words. But that's a great way to do that. So let's keep looking. So here's a couple of really neat examples I wanted to point out to you, to look at, like this one on the left, something fun and creative. And they actually wrote very tiny the fun or creative thing that they did. They tracked for those daily things to embrace that. But the one over there on the right, this person wrote, some months I can only have one goal. You know what you need. If you are hard on yourself, I encourage you to try it sometime. Less pressure, more self-love. And then for the mood tracking, I'm trying something new because I want to track forgiving myself and turning my mood around. So that's a great way to embrace the idea of self-kindness, self-compassion this month. Just one thing. The idea isn't to fill everything out, not a blackout. It's okay to give yourself grace. You can see the example over here on the left is showing up some routines. So they're doing their routines AM and PM. They've actually written those routines on the page. So those things that they want to check off every day, they're written right there. The one over there on the right, there's those weekends that are drawn off. Also pointing out the one on the left, you see not every line is filled in. So you don't need to take every single line. This one that says tracking, and there's little arrows down here at the bottom. So those were my steps because I realized I was not moving as much. I used to easily get 14,000 steps when I worked. And now you can see I'm down to like 4,000. So I tracked my steps and actually wrote the step numbers in there. And then the social connection, I just put the initial and I use that as an intention every week to connect with someone. I wanted to bring that one back because of our theme of kindness and maybe making sure that you're connecting with the people that are important to you. Um, we want to give ourselves grace. And so this tracker over here on the right, they have written their why for each one of the habits around that circle. So unplug by 8 p.m. and their why is because I want to be present with family members. And then they're going to go mark that in, color those boxes in with the color, but you notice the little box, the little inset box there. On days they don't get it done, they're just putting a little gray mark. Oops, they're acknowledging the day. I always say your blank spaces tell that story too. It's part of your life. So that's a great way to just acknowledge it. And there's some fun habit tracker ideas that you could put into this tracker if you're looking for something new to do, and then some more. And then I wanted to show you this graphic about small habits equal big results. So when your habits are inconsistent, you see that ladder, that those big steps, and there when you it's a little trickier to get those habits put into place. But if you break them down and have smaller habits, smaller steps, smaller gains, will ultimately lead to a bigger result, a more significant result. So just that shout out to make sure you're taking bites that you can chew. So I'll put on some music. Let us know what's going on this trucker for you. What are you going to be working on this month? I wanted to make a call out to what Sharon said in the chat, that she's using the same stuff from the last couple of months. And that's important because habits take a while to get established, and the tougher habits take longer to get hardwired into our life, which is why I keep messing up with my nighttime routines. So a good call out to not have a bunch of different ones, every month. Don't change them up. Keep those habits that you want to keep. So I know we're all running out of steam. We're tired. It's bedtime. We are going to do Ghostbusters to say goodbye. So, if you can hang and you can scream your Ghostbusters. We have this annual check-in survey that Mayhaw would love for you to fill out if you haven't done that already. Katie will drop that link in the chat. Takes 5, 7, 10 minutes. Right, Katie's time for bed. But this helps guide the future of Silk and Sonder. And so please do that. Share in Sonder Club, because we can inspire one another, and then maybe we can also pull some of your stuff, and you may see it next month or in a year from now. But it is very kind to share. And then we want to make sure that you are aware of our personal life coaching. Again, watch for those things in the chat. And Bailey Grady, Saturday in-person event. Facilitator Bailey's got that going on in the Hendersonville, Tennessee area. So if you're there, grab that link and let Bailey know that you are coming. And here is, yeah, here's our playlist from tonight. Y'all did it. You made it. You're mostly set up. We've got a few more setups before. And I think Katie and I are back on Halloween night. So if you just want to come and sit and, hang, feel free. Feel free, we'll be here, but it's a late one. Thanks, Sonder family. Proud of you for taking this time to get that journal set up and get your November pointed in the right direction. And we can do this together. There's not a kinder community than y'all. So, anyway, we'll see you soon.